Title: The Haunting Reviews. The bell above the cafe door barely rang anymore. Riya stood behind the counter, wiping down a clean surface for the third time that morning. The chairs were all in place. The pastry case was full. The coffee machine hummed softly, but the room stayed quiet. 3 months ago, her cafe buzzed by 9 a.m. Regulars came in like clockwork. Some ordered the usual. Others sat with laptops and chatted between sips. But lately things had changed. The mornings were slower, the afternoons even more so. Some of her loyal customers stopped showing up. New customers came in less often. And when they did, they seemed unsure, looking around like they weren't sure if they should stay. Riya told herself it was just the season. Maybe the rain. Maybe holidays. Maybe people were just busy. But deep down, she knew something was off. One quiet afternoon, while waiting for the next order, Riya opened her phone and searched for her cafe on Google. The results made her stomach twist. Right below the map and opening hours was a list of reviews. The most recent ones all said the same thing. Chen Chen waited 15 minutes for coffee. It was cold. Damdratan, staff didn't smile once. Felt like I was bothering them. Damjan used to love this place. Now it's slow, and the tables aren't even clean. One after another, the 2-star reviews stacked up. The dates were recent, some just 2 weeks ago, others from last month. She scrolled down, and her heart sank even more. Some complaints were about things she didn't even know were happening. She hadn't seen these before. No one even told me, she whispered. The cafe door stayed shut. Her staff stood in the back, chatting softly. Riya stared at her screen, unsure whether to feel angry, embarrassed, or just tired. The problem wasn't just fewer customers. The problem was already online, and it was hurting her business more than she realized. 600 words. Riya slammed her phone down on the counter, harder than she meant to. She couldn't believe it. Cold coffee, rude staff, messy tables. Why didn't anyone say anything in person? She muttered. Why leave a review instead of just telling me? She paced behind the counter, arms crossed. Her 2 baristas looked up, but she didn't say anything to them, not yet. The reviews echoed in her head. Used to love this place. Now it's just slow. She pulled out her phone again and texted her friend Neha, who also owned a small shop nearby. Riya, my cafe's getting hammered with bad reviews. I had no idea. Neha, people are brutal online. What are they saying? Riya, same old stuff. Service, cold drinks, unfriendly staff. But it's not even that bad. She meant it. Her team showed up every day. Orders got made. The coffee machine worked. The muffins were baked fresh. Sure, there were busy days when things were slower, but rude staff? Cold coffee? That felt unfair. She called her cousin later that evening. I feel like I'm being punished, she said. People have one off moment and run to the internet. They don't even give us a chance. He listened, then asked, have you actually read them all? Riya paused. I skimmed them. Then maybe don't skim, he said. Just read. Start to finish. Maybe there's something in there. She didn't want to. But later that night, after dinner, she sat at her desk and opened her laptop. She read the reviews. All of them. And not just the newest ones. She scrolled back 3, 6, even 9 months. Some were exaggerated, but not all. One said, the woman at the counter looked tired and didn't greet anyone. The coffee was good, but I felt like an interruption. Another said, the server seemed overwhelmed. She spilled milk on the counter and didn't clean it. I wiped it myself. Riya leaned back in her chair. She didn't want to admit it, but some of it was true. Her team had changed this year. She'd hired quickly when someone quit. She hadn't had time to train everyone properly. She hadn't done a full staff check-in in months. And honestly, she had been tired. Really tired. She looked again at the screen. Some reviews even left suggestions. Love this cafe. Just wish the service felt more personal like it used to. Maybe name tags or a smile. Would come back if orders were a bit faster. A separate pickup line could help. They weren't all just complaints. Some were trying to help. Riya rubbed her eyes and sighed. The frustration was still there, but now it was mixed with something else. Maybe it wasn't about being attacked. Maybe it was a chance to fix what was broken if she was brave enough to look closer. The next morning, Riya arrived at the cafe early. She stood outside for a moment, looking through the glass door at the empty chairs, the quiet counter, the untouched pastry case. It used to make her proud. Now it made her nervous. She unlocked the door and stepped inside. Today would be different. Instead of starting with prep work or counting the register, Riya opened her laptop behind the counter and pulled up the cafe's review page again. This time, she wasn't here to argue. She was here to listen. One by one, she clicked on each one or 2-star review and began typing a reply. Not excuses, not anger, just honest, clear words. I'm really sorry your drink wasn't hot. We've had a few new baristas join our team and we're working to improve consistency. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your feedback about the tables. We've added a new cleaning checklist this week. I hope your next visit feels much better. She kept going. It felt strange at first responding to strangers who had criticized her business. But as she replied, her shoulders dropped. It felt lighter. One review had said the staff didn't smile. Riya thought about her team, about how little time she'd spent checking in with them lately, how she'd rushed through shifts and forgotten to ask how people were really doing. Maybe the problem wasn't just customer-facing. Maybe it was coming from inside. By mid-morning, she'd replied to every negative review posted in the last 6 months. Some were short and direct, others were longer, especially if the reviewer had been detailed. She didn't try to fix everything in a reply, but she made sure every message showed that someone was listening, that the cafe cared. Then she posted a message on the cafe's social media page. We've read your reviews, thank you for your honesty. We're listening, learning, and working to make your experience better. That afternoon, she asked her team to stay for 15 minutes after closing. They gathered around the counter, unsure why. Riya smiled gently and said, "Don't worry, you're not in trouble." She told them about the reviews, about what people had said, about what she had ignored for too long. "I know some of this is on me," she admitted, "and I want to fix it with you, not just for you." There was a quiet pause. Then one staff member spoke. "Honestly, we've felt it too. Things have been off lately." Another added, "It'd help if we had clearer steps. Like when it gets busy, we're not sure who's doing what." Riya nodded. "That's going to change, starting today." And just like that, the real work began. The next morning, before the cafe opened, Riya gathered her team again. No aprons yet. Just people, sitting with warm mugs and open minds. "All right," she said, notebook in hand. "We're not here to talk about what went wrong. We're here to build what's next." One barista raised a hand. "Can we talk about the prep list?" "Yes," Riya said. "That's where we'll start." The group agreed mornings were too slow. Coffee grounds weren't always ready. Milk wasn't refilled. Sugar packets ran low right at the rush hour. Together, they redesigned the prep schedule. More tasks were done before doors opened. One person set up the machines, another stocked the bar. It took teamwork, but after one trial morning, the difference was clear. Next, Riya brought up greetings. "A lot of reviews mentioned feeling ignored," she said. "How do we fix that?" They created a simple rule. Every customer who walks in gets a smile and a "Hi, welcome," even if they had to say it while finishing a task. No one wanted to sound fake, but they agreed a small hello could change someone's day. Then came the big one: order speed. The staff admitted they didn't always know who was doing what during busy times. So they created 2 roles per shift-owned person focused on taking orders, one on making drinks. If things got really busy, a 3rd staffer would float to support both sides. By the end of the week, Riya had printed a new shift guide and posted it in the back room. Everyone knew their role by the hour. Everyone knew what done right looked like. But she didn't stop there. Riya printed small cards that said, "Help us improve. Scan this and tell us how we did. QR code, 1-minute feedback." Totally anonymous. She placed one on every table and near the counter. Within 2 days, she had 20 responses. Some said things like, "Loved the music today," or "Barista had a great smile." Others pointed out small problems at table that wobbled a drafty window. Nothing huge, but it helped. It helped her team feel seen. It helped customers feel heard. It helped Riya catch problems before they turned into reviews. By the 2nd week, something changed. Regulars who had been quiet were smiling again. One said, "It feels brighter in here." Another joked, "You guys finally stopped ignoring me." They were half kidding, but Riya didn't mind. She was glad they noticed. A new customer came in one morning and said, "I almost didn't stop by. I read old reviews, but this place feels really good. Glad I gave it a shot." That evening, as Riya closed up shop, she looked around and felt something she hadn't felt in months. Pride. Not just in her café, in how it had grown through the mess. Not around it. She wiped down the counter, turned off the lights and thought, "This isn't perfect, but it's better. And it's honest." And that was enough to keep going. 2 weeks after the changes, Riya sat behind the counter during a rare, quiet moment. She checked her phone and smiled. Another 5-star review had come in. Saw older reviews and was nervous, but wow, fast service, friendly staff, and great coffee. Happy I gave it a try. It wasn't just one. The tone of the cafe's review page had shifted. The past 30 days were full of 4s and 5s, some even from returning customers who had once left lower ratings. Much better than last time. Big improvement. They're really listening here. Respect. The new feedback didn't come from begging for good ratings, it came from real changes people could feel. Even online, people noticed. Riya posted a short update on the cafe's social media. We listened, we learned, we made changes. Thank you for helping us grow. Come taste the difference. The post got more likes than anything she'd shared in months. Inside the cafe, the atmosphere felt different. Customers were greeted warmly, drinks came out faster, and tables stayed clean. Regulars who had disappeared slowly started to return. One even joked, "Did you guys get a new manager or something?" "Nope," Riya smiled. "Just a better one." For the first time in a while, she felt like the cafe was hers again, not just in name, but in heart. Riya stood by the door as the last customer left with a smile. The cafe was quiet again, but in a good way. She had learned that criticism didn't mean failure. It meant feedback. And feedback, when faced with honesty and action, could become the start of real change. Moral: bad reviews aren't the end of your story, they're the beginning of your better chapter, if you're willing to listen. Today, Riya checks reviews every week not to fear them, but to learn from them. She thanks those who speak up, even when it's hard to hear. Because every business has blind spots. What matters is whether you look for them. Follow for more true stories about solving real business problems.